Are you looking for a nice tree to add to your landscape that produces loads of fruit and really fast? Consider the star fruit or carambola. Hi, I'm Elise and I'm glad you stopped by. Look at all of these blooms. They're just fantastic. And they are good for pollinators. Star fruit, carambola. I'm in zone 9B. Once the tree is established, it will bloom, it will produce fruit almost all year long except the very dead of our winter. If you live in a temperate region, get a dwarf variety, grow in a pot. It is classed as a tropical, subtropical fruit. And look at all of these little green fruit coming. It is just loaded. So this tree is loaded with new blossoms, it is loaded with green fruit, and it is loaded with ripe fruit. The tree is 10 to 12 feet tall. It can top out at about 15. It likes sun, warmth, humidity, likes water, but make sure that your soil is very well draining. And there are just dozens and dozens of new little green fruit. Star fruit is one of the most prolific fruiters that I have in my landscape. In addition, it's all year long. I've even had green fruit and blossoms pop up in the dead of winter. Albeit, the winter in zone 9B isn't always that cold. Last year we did have a couple of frost events. The tree went, or a couple of freeze events. The tree did go through it fantastically. Got a little singed, but that's all. So, really nice tree. Another really good thing about it is once it's established and happy, you can have fruit in 1.5 to 2 years. And then basically, it's not going to stop as long as it's happy. I have never fertilized this tree. It gets the leaf droppings that fall, that feeds the soil. This is completely natural. We use no pesticides, no herbicides, no chemical fertilizers. If I do fertilize material in the yard, I use our own homemade DIY fertilizers. So I know when I pick this fruit off, I know exactly that it has no chemicals on it, which I really like. The whole fruit is edible. You eat the skin, you eat the whole thing. Now I just picked this one off, really pretty. And I'll be coming out and getting the rest of the ripe fruit. You let it stay on until it's really golden. The problem is, or I may have to get my son out here to do this, lots of the fruit is up underneath the tree and you're almost going to have to crawl to get to it. The tree is lightweight. It's an open canopy, really light foliage, and it's heavy with fruit. And that is bending these lightweight limbs over. I'm going to just have to bite the bullet and come out and give it a really hard pruning, which is really hard. You know, it's full of blossoms, it's full of green fruit, it's full of ripe fruit. But it is so heavy now with all the fruit, it's bending the branches over. Even the main trunks in the center they're sprawling out and bending over. But before I cut everything back, I am going to try some air layering on the star fruit. It should work very well. And then I can have more plants that will be ready to produce fruit as soon as they are established. Really pretty. Propagation is seeds. You can do air layering, you can do grafting, you can do cuttings. I have not personally been successful in cuttings. I will keep trying. I'm not saying that cuttings don't work. I'm just saying I was not successful with cuttings. Okay, look at all of the blossoms and green fruit and all various stages of ripeness. More ripe fruit. Nice. Leaves are edible. Fruit is edible. Loads of medicinal properties if you want to do your research. Full of vitamin C, full of antioxidants. There are a couple of restrictions on star fruit, so look into that, medical-wise, but really nice. We feed chickens with it. I give sacks of the fruit away, and we use loads of the fruit. You can freeze it if you have a big glut. You can juice it, makes pies, jams, jellies, puddings. Eat it raw, eat it in salads, sauces, makes really good sauces, chutneys, anything that you can think of, this fruit is good for. Okay, meet me in the kitchen. I'll share with you how I cut it up a couple of ways, extract the seeds, and get ready to start the germination process. And then we'll go outside, we'll plant a few seeds, I'll show you some young seedlings, we'll do some cuttings, and probably talk about starfruit more. One of my favorite trees because it is so easy to grow and it is such a prolific fruiter. I wish all of my fruit trees bloomed like this one and set fruit like this one. All right, see you inside. So how did these beauties get their name, star fruit? Well, it's the way they're cut. I'll show you in just a moment. I have 2 plates of fruit here. This is some star fruit I picked off of the tree fresh. This plate is some star fruit I picked up off the ground. Now, these I'm just going to use to take the seeds out. Nothing goes to waste. Whatever I don't use will be fed to the animals, will be composted, or if composted, go to my worm bins. It's never wasted. Okay, let's cut one up and show you why starfruit is called starfruit. Have a little scrap bowl here, so I'll pull over. The first thing I do is I cut both ends off. That way, if you do have any little bad ends at the root area, you can get rid of that. You leave your star fruit on the tree until they are really golden. And then sometimes if you leave them a little too long at the stem end, they'll get a little discolored. So to get your perfect little star, you just cut across the fruit. And there is your perfect little star. Fantastic for garnishes, salads. They really add a little bit of interest. Really pretty. Kids love them. Now they do have seeds in them, so you can come back and take these seeds out. That's all you have to do. Starfruit, you eat the whole thing. You eat the peels. You don't have to worry about peeling them. Now, isn't that pretty? Okay, you can come through now, if you wish, and cut off the tips that aren't quite right. That is up to you. Plus, there's a little chemical in starfruit, and from what I have read, sometimes it is concentrated in those edges. I don't think it's anything that you can actually taste, but it is suggested to cut those edges off. Doesn't take but just a second. So again, I'm going to cut the top off, and I'm going to cut the bottom off. That facilitates cutting so much easier. Let me show you a different way to cut the starfruit. And I actually like this way better. So just go into the little valleys, just a little bit. Ooh, nice and juicy. If you're uncomfortable about cutting a piece of fruit in your hand with a knife, put a towel, a hot pad, anything underneath it. So what you're going to do is get perfect little spears of fruit. This is great. This is really nice presentation on platters. But also you can go in now and cut it up even smaller for salads, to juice, whatever you wish. Really pretty. The whole fruit is edible. Even the leaves is edible. So now you have these beautiful little perfect wedges of fruit. Now you can come back if you wish and cut off that membrane. But you can eat that also. I actually did not see any seeds in this. And that's why sometimes I come back and I cut the membrane. And I'll show you why in just a moment. I'll show you how the seeds are in the fruit. So, isn't that pretty? You have your stars, you have little chunks, and you have perfect spears, just the right size to pick up and eat. How neat. But this is how starfruit got its name. So it just depends upon your final presentation, your final recipe, how you're using the starfruit, how you might want to cut it. Again, you would have to go back and remove these seeds, but it's very easy. They just pop out. If the seed hasn't been cut, you can save it. So I'm going to put that over into my seed bowl. All right. I'll do that one more time. Cut the ends off. These are really big. They smell great. They're juicy. I do like to cut the little greener edges off. You don't have to though. Only takes a moment. If you're cutting spears, just go down in the valley. Put something under your hand if you aren't comfortable holding a piece of fruit, cutting it with a knife. Then you have these perfect little spears of fruit. I do like to cut the membrane off. Ah, there's a seed. So I'm going to take these seeds out. And that's how easy it is. And to cut the stars, you just cut across. And in just a moment, you have a plate of beautiful star fruit. All right, let's take some seeds out. A star fruit can produce anywhere from 1 to 10 seeds. Depends upon the variety, how old it is, the mood it's in that season, whatever. If you're saving for seed, what you can do is actually leave the star fruit on as long as possible and let it get a little overripe. Now, these came off the ground and you can see they are a little overripe, a little yucky looking. Now, some of them are fine and you could just wash those up and use them. I'm going to look for seed. So, I'm just going to gently go down the middle, open it up. And there's my first seed. That one has not filled out, so I'm going to throw it away. Starfruit seeds grow in a little envelope inside the fruit. And if you're lucky, you can just peel that little envelope out. Again, you can have 1 seed up to 10 seeds, and then you just slide that starfruit out, the seed out. There it is. It is coated in a gel. So what I usually do is I put them all in a bowl. I put a little water in it. I let it sit for a little while, sometimes even overnight. And then I can come back, put the seeds in a strainer, and wash them really, really well and wash all that goo off. And so here's another one. Let's see if we can get the little envelope up. There we go. Again, nothing's going to be wasted. Slide it down. And that one's really not filled out yet either, so I'm not saving it. That happens sometimes. Now here's one just laying here. Sometimes they fall out of the envelope. Sometimes when you cut them, they fall out of the envelope. So this one's fine. It is nice and full. You want your star fruit to be full. Well, any seed, you want it, that seed to be full. Now sometimes you can just take your thumb and run down the middle of the star fruit and see if there's any more seeds. See, that one is flat, so I don't want that one. And I don't see any more seeds. But here is another envelope. No seeds. So hopefully we're going to get one soon that has a whole bunch of seeds in it for you. If you don't cut all the way through, you lessen your chance of cutting into your seed. So let's open that. There's the envelope, no seed. Really? Not doing well on seeds to show you today, am I? Just put my finger in and make sure there's none in there. And this is an old established tree. So why this year it didn't produce seeds, I don't know. Although we were very, very hot and very, very dry. So perhaps all of the energy went to fruit production and none went to seeds. There's an envelope. All right. I have a feeling this one. And I guess my feeling wasn't quite on. There's the envelope, no seed. Let's see what's over here. There's an envelope, no seed. My goodness, I've never had this happen, honestly. Let's see what's going on with this big one. Ah, I see a seed. Thank you, thank you. All right, there's a seed in the envelope. There's another seed, and another seed. Like I said, sometimes they go ahead and they fall out of that envelope. So good. Two nice seeds there. Let's see what's going on this side. There it is. Pull up the little envelope. This one has 3 in it. Yay! Y'all thought I was just making that up for a moment, didn't you? So 4 nice seeds. Those go in my seed bowl. And I usually just take my thumb, run down a little bit, and double check. Look at all that juice. I think sometimes the seeds like to try to run away. I just cut down in a little bit, trying not to hit any seeds, hopefully. Then I just take my thumb, or if you don't want to use your thumb, you can use a spoon or anything. No seed, there's the envelope. No seed. So let's try this big one. It seems like all the seeds were over there in the ones I cut up for stars. All right, nothing there. Nothing there. One more. Going to go the whole 9 yards. I see a seed. Very good. In fact, 2, 3. And just pull them out from the goo. Oh, 2. Okay. All right. One more. Ah, this one has seeds. I can see it right now. So just gently pull that envelope, and there we have 2 seeds. So we're just going to scoot those down now. Put them in my bowl. Check this side out. No seed. Okay. Again, it seems like just about all of the ones I cut up for the star has seeds in it. So I can come back and gently remove those, slide them off in my bowl. As long as I haven't cut them, they're fine. Now, I'll meet you outside. We're going to plant some of the seeds. I'll show you some of my little seedlings I've already started and what some of the older trees will look like. See you then. Okay, it's time to plant some seeds for the star fruit. I'm also going to do a few cuttings, and I want to show you a couple of the younger plants. Star fruit propagates extremely easy from seeds. And I know the other night when I was cutting up my star fruit, I had a little hard time finding seeds, but honestly, as soon as I turned the camera off, the next 2 or 3 star fruit that I opened up was full of seeds. One had something like 12 seeds in it, and another one had 9. So I did end up with a lots of star fruit seeds. Okay, star fruit seeds are intermediate. That's what they're classed at now, which means they'll last for several years. The best way to store your starfruit seeds, if you aren't going to use them right away, is just to put them in a little brown paper bag. Make sure you label them and put them in the bottom of your refrigerator. You really aren't stratifying them. You're just chilling them to help hold the viability. If you don't want to do that, you can just store them any way you normally store seeds. They are a little hard seed, but if you soak them, they do get very soft easily. Now, if these are fresh seeds, just plant them. If you've just taken them out of your starfruit for a few days, just plant them. When I take the seeds out, I wash them because they do have a goo on them. Any time a fruit has seeds with a goo on it, its main purpose is to entice the animals to eat the fruit, and that way the seeds go through their digestive system, they walk around, poop it out, and the seeds are distributed. That's what I was told. So I have a few seeds from the ones I cut up. Since these are fresh, I'm not going to soak them. They have been washed really well, and what I even do is after I wash them, I'll lay them in a paper towel or a dish towel or something, and I'll gently rub them to make sure all that goo is off, especially if I'm fixing to store them. It's that easy. Okay, you can use flats, containers, anything you wish to use. I'm going to use a recycled rotisserie, chicken rotisserie bottom of the pan. Has lots of holes in the bottom for drainage. I just have regular all-purpose soil in here. I have really wet it. And I'm just going to drop some of the seeds in. If you've got lots of seeds, you can kind of sow them in, but I'm not going to plant a lot because I do already have numerous seedlings. And that's it. If you're putting them in cells, since these are trees, you can do 1 or 2. I wouldn't do more than 2. And as soon as they're a few inches tall or have their second set of leaves, I would go ahead and divide them and put them in their own containers. That's up to you. Let me share this. This is a great income crop. If you're a commercial grower, if you have a nursery, backyard grower that you go to yard sales, plant sales, farmers markets, things like that, starfruit is a good money crop. It germinates easy, it grows fast, it starts setting fruit fast. So, as I've said before about other plants, just schedule your timing. Since it takes 1.5 years, sometimes 2 years to start putting on fruit, if you take a plant that's a couple of feet, 3 feet maybe tall, that has fruit on it, it's going to be sold in just a few minutes. Okay, so I have my seeds here, and I am going to lightly press. I want to make sure there's good seed to soil contact. That's all. These are skinny seeds. They don't have to be really, really deep. And then I'm just going to come back and just drizzle some other soil on it. That's all. Again, lightly, lightly. Got a little rock. Lightly, lightly press it. If you can still see the seeds, then put a little more in. Now I'm going to mist this really good. If I can still see the seeds, I'll put a little more soil on. It's that easy. I also still have the plastic dome that fits these, so if I wanted to, I could put that on and make it into a little hothouse. I'll put my label on. These will go somewhere warm. You can see how good the drainage holes are. Let me show you this. This is a little seedling. It's not very old, and I've just repotted a bunch of them. Nice, healthy little seedling. Now, I don't know about you, but I have a really hard time cutting the tops out of plants. But it is suggested the younger they are, the easier it is. So you just want to come and just pinch that little top out. If you can't get it pinched out, use your clippers. I also use a little pair of scissors. Now what that's going to do is flush out and make a lateral growth. The little plant's going to be full, so it's just not one stem coming up. You'll have more growth, more chances of fruit. Here's a little older one. Look how pretty, look how healthy. Now if I wanted to, I can come in here and pinch off these, but I'm not going to try to pinch, okay? I'll get a pair of scissors or something and clip them off if I decide to cut them now, or I may wait till they get a little bit bigger, or I may not do it at all. They're my plants. Hey, I can do whatever I want to, just like you can do whatever you want to with yours. But a nice, healthy little star fruit, little one stem, and star fruit does grow very easily on one stem. So this does need to go in a bigger pot. I've got some root systems coming out, but I'm a little low on the good potting soil that I want to use, so that should come in today or tomorrow, and then I'll go ahead and repot this. So let's do some cuttings. What I did was I went through and I pulled off some of the semi-hardwood cuttings. I'm going to come in under a node, come in here, cut it at an angle. You do not have to angle it. I'm going to wound it. You don't have to wound it. Where's the camera? There we go. That's just something that I do. If you don't have leaves on it, make sure that you know what's up and down. Now, although I normally don't use rooting hormones, I have found that star fruit can sometimes be a little promiscuity, you know, so I'm going to just put that in. Put a little hormone on it, a little aloe on it, and put it in. Something else I'd like to share. If you're putting rooting hormone, no matter what it is, put your hole first, Use your finger, anything you want to. If you just take your stick and you stick it in, most of your rooting hormone is going to rub off on its way down. So prepare your hole first, about the depth that you think you want. It's that easy. Let's do another one. Now, this one's got a little leaf on it. So I'm going to leave some of that leaf. Cut it at an angle, and you want to, if possible, cut it under a node. And a node is that little bumpy growth where your previous foliage was. I'm going to wound it. Now, to prep this aloe, all I did was I cut the spikes off. And I took my knife and went down in and just opened it up a little bit. That's all. And I just cut a tip off of the plant because I knew I wasn't doing a lot, and there's no need to waste it. So it's dripping off. I know I've got enough. I'm going to prepare my hole and put it in. This soil is slightly moist, so it's going to help hold the plants in place. If you have a mid-cut like this, you can come back and put a little aloe up there. You can put a little cinnamon spice, something to help with that exposed cut. I've never had any problems. Look at the little babies. Okay, you never want fruit, flowers, or new growth on your cuttings. Angle it and wound it a little bit. Again, the angling and the wounding is up to you. Get a little aloe on it. Start my hole, and that's that. What I do hope to try this year is to do some air layering and some simple layering. And the simple layering is just where you take a branch that's close to the ground and you bend it over and put a weight on it, or affix it to the ground some way so that it roots into the ground for you. I'm going to try it. And air layering, of course, is where you wound the plant in the stem, put some type of medium around it, and then see if it will grow roots. Make my hole. There we go. I'm going to do one more. Look at these pretty blossoms. And you can try all different sizes, all different circumferences, If you have lots of source material, do lots of cuttings. That helps to increase your chance of the cuttings taking. Okay. Put my label on. Water this really, really well. I'm not worried about having any air pockets down in the hole that I make, because when I water it, all of that will just go in by itself. And I may come back and do a few more cuttings and fill this pot up. But that's how easy all of this is. Now, I am going to go ahead and put my sprayer on mist, hold it up tall. Might as well get this dirt off while I'm here. But hold it up tall and mist it very, very well. That's it. So we have seeds, we have little seedlings, we have some cuttings, and I have an older seedling here that needs to be repotted just as soon as I get some soil in. Hey, not a bad job, right? Beautiful, wonderful, edible star fruit. Okay, well, my job is done, and I think it's about lunchtime. Till we speak again, have a fantastic day.